The Jets have signed 20 undrafted free agents by my last count. Here are the top 8, in my opinion, to look out for as we head into training camp and preseason. Number 7 and 8, I'll clump them together. Jamal Pritchett and Quentin Skinner, both wide receivers, Kansas and Alabama, respectively, could not be built more differently. We have, I think, enter your new Xavier Gibson and Irv Charles, right? Hopefully they're a little bit better than those guys, but it's kind of the same idea here because I think both of them, there's a niche skill on special teams they'd have to fill in order to make the roster, with Skinner being a gunner like Charles, and then Pritchett would have to be the punt returner in order to make the roster, I would imagine. With Pritchett, he's tiny, 5'8", $175, pretty poor explosive testing measurables as well. Although he did run 4.4, he did a very good production at South Alabama, over 1,100 yards last year. But again, his meal ticket will be being the punt returner. I think we could use an improvement at punt returner. Xavier Gibson developed a fumbling problem, and after the week 1 game in 2023, he was just a below average returner. So could use an upgrade there. And if you can get it out of a UDFA, why not? Skinner, he is built like Robbie Anderson. He's 6'4" and just around 200 pounds with a 4.5 40. Yeah, he didn't drop the ball. Not a ton of crazy production, but he has good hands. Okay, so you're long, you're relatively fast for your size, and you have good hands. Okay, that's something to work with. He actually graded out decently as a run blocker, and but this would be the special teams, be his calling card here, right? So both of those kind of lumped together. The wide receiver, like 7 kind of player who might play specials, because that's one wide receiver spot and one corner spot almost assuredly is going to go to a special teamer. Look for Chris Bryant on special teamers who came over from Houston in the corner room. In the wide receiver room, I think it could be a UDFA. Number 6, Dean Clark, safety. And yeah, I just think he has the best, maybe the best collegiate resume of any of the UDFAs they've signed. Now, PFF is pretty kind to safeties, I guess, because it's tough to find ones with really bad analytics, specifically in coverage, but his were pretty good, and he was incredibly versatile, and he's coming with a lot of experience at the safety position. So that's a spot where it depends on if the Jets view Oliver as a corner, because remember, Isaiah Oliver played under Steve Wilkes in San Francisco. He was his starting nickel corner in San Fran. So does Steve Wilkes just say, hey, no, you're our backup in case Michael Carter is injured? Or do they see him as Robert Saleh saw him as, you could play safety or nickel, whatever the case may be? If they see Oliver as just, no, you're a corner, then that could open up a spot for fourth safety. Dean Heckel could slide into that. He really, reading about him, it reads like a poor man's Malachi Moore. You're super versatile. You have a lot of experience. You don't have one trait that's jumping out at you. But Dean Clark could be a guy who makes the team, right? Number 5 would be Donovan Edwards, running back, Michigan. Now, it really just comes down to, do they keep 4 running backs? Because I can't imagine he would make the team over Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis. I really like Isaiah Davis, man. I don't know if he's not better than Braylon Allen. Not to do jet crime, but I don't know if he doesn't get the second most amount of snaps at running back with a new coaching staff. Isaiah Davis is shifty as hell, man. I like that dude a lot. But if they want to keep a 4th running back, there's not a ton of competition for that spot. So Edwards could slide in there. You remember he was had a lot of buzz and hype coming into Michigan and after his freshman season. Didn't really materialize since then, but he could have a shot with the Jets. Number 4 for Torma Mulba, defensive tackle, West Virginia. Maybe this is manifesting or hoping, because, man, we could use a run stopper. Now, he's not the biggest guy, 6'3", 310, but he was a really good run defender in college. He was 7th most in run stops among defensive tackles. Play Like a Jet did a film review on him. It was littered with some pretty good plays against the run. So we need some of that, man, right? We didn't draft one, and if we could roster one that's a UDFA, that's a spot on the team where I think we could really use some young blood. Number 3 is Brady Cook, quarterback. This is pretty cut and dry, man, just like running back. If they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks, I imagine the new regime is going to keep their UDFA over Adrian Martinez, right? Brady Cook, I was watching a lot of Luther Burden pre-draft, and I got to be honest, I saw a bunch of really horrible passes from Brady Cook. But apparently his 2023 season was better. But he is very athletic. I will give him that. He's a big dude, and he can absolutely move. So if they want to keep a 3rd quarterback, I imagine it would be like he would be the favorite, right? Number 2, Cade Davis, kicker. Again, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if Greg Z and his $4 million can move on and we can get kicker solved from a UDFA. So here are his splits. So extra points, he was 100 for 102. Field goals of 39 yards and less, 26 out of 27. So pretty much extra points and complete chip shots, he was on the money, like 99%. Between 40 and 49 yards, field goals, he was 13 of 17, which is like average, a little below average than you'd like. And then from 50 plus, he was 3 of 8, which obviously is below average. So he seems like chip shots are really, really good, intermediate, like average, but then he's probably that kind of player where if it's a 53 yarder, do you consider going for it instead of that? So, that's just something you have to measure now compared to what we had last year with Greg Z, where it's like, oh man, it's a 38 yarder and you're shaking in your boots. So he kind of reminds me of Eddie Pinheiro in that way, where it's like, you feel really good from like under 47 and under, but once you're testing the leg strength, it gets a little dicey there with K Davis. But if Greg Z looks anything like he did last year, there'll be a new spot, a new kicker kicking for the Jets in 2025, and it's going to be either him or Anders Carlson, I would imagine. Now, number 1, Leander Wiegand, offensive tackle, Germany, UCF before that. Now, he's number 1 because you follow the money. On the UDFAs, you always follow the money. He got the biggest guarantee, $250,000. He's in the International Players Pipeline program, whatever it is, the IPP. You get to sneak him on the practice squad, and it doesn't even cost you an extra player. And then you get 3 call-ups from there. So he's gonna be around. I promise you that, because of the roster gymnastics you could do by taking advantage of that program and the money they gave every year. Look at the biggest amount of money guaranteed to a certain player, whether it was Eric Watts last year, Jason Brown the year before that, Tony Adams previous years. Like those guys, you see them when they give out that money. It's almost like you can consider him a 7th round draft pick now. Now, I think he played guard in the NFL. I would imagine he's the dude who put up 38 cold ones on the bench press at his pro day, which was a record. And so Xavier Newman, if he gets cut and Wiegand replaces him, wouldn't be shocked. So those are the top 8 to keep an eye out for me, and we'll talk about soon.